permanent exhibit at Boston's International Logan Airport, Terminal C. The Innovation Trail, a 2-hour walking tour of Cambridge and Boston, voted the best walking trail by Boston Magazine. And the book, Boston Made, From Revolution to Robotics, Innovations That Changed the World. I'm Larry Barsh, and you are listening to a special event announcement from Specifically for Seniors. I want to introduce you to Dr. Robert Krim, a leading expert on the factors that have driven and continue to drive Boston to be the most innovative city in the United States, and the man responsible for the exhibit at Logan Airport, the Innovation Trail, and the book, Boston Made.
Hi, I'm Bob Krim. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you today, but I wanted to say hello, number one, and tell you how much I'm looking forward to meeting you in person on Thursday afternoon, September 7th, when we'll have a chance to talk and I'll have a chance to answer your questions.
To those who won't be at the live meeting, I'll be happy to ask Bob any questions you have. Just ask them at www.specificallyforseniors.com/contact. I'll put the link in the show notes below as well. For much of his professional life, Bob started and led 2 successful businesses. After the Great Recession of 2008, he taught for a decade at Clark University and became a tenured professor at Framingham State University. Now, a semi-retired professor at Framingham State, Krim teaches innovation and entrepreneurship and founded the Co-working Entrepreneur Innovation Center. On today's podcast, I'm going to introduce you to an upcoming special event on Specifically for Seniors. On September 7th, 2023, the residents of Orchard Cove, a senior living facility near Boston, will be treated to a presentation by Dr. Krim. We sincerely wish we could invite all of you to meet Bob in person, but we will be recording that event as it happens, and we'll bring it to you as a special podcast early in September. So register at specificallyforseniors.com, and we'll notify you when the podcast drops. Bob filled me in on the breadth of innovation that makes Boston the most innovative city in the United States in a personal conversation through history, little-known stories, and a virtual walk that led me, a Boston resident for years, through a journey of discovery and excitement that you all, residents of Orchard Cove and listeners to this podcast, will experience in September. The Innovation Trail is a way to experience, learn about, and be inspired by 4 centuries of world-changing breakthroughs from Boston. But I'll let Bob tell you a bit about the Innovation Trail himself.
My name is Bob Krim, and I am somebody who was a professor out at Framingham State University teaching innovation, and somebody who's worked with lots of different people to study innovation along the way. Most of us think that Boston has a story, which we do, which is about the revolution. And we have the Freedom Trail that connects the sites and those sorts of ways that you can do a walking tour of the revolutionary history of the city. There is, however, really a second story that most of us don't know as well and really need to know. This area is one of the most innovative in the world and the most innovative city region in the United States. I worked with hundreds of people and scientists and historians and others, economists, for a number of years, and we studied all the potential innovations that were originated here and actually changed the nation of the world. They were big innovations. And we came up with not 10 or 20, which would be a lot for a city, but 450 innovations which have changed the nation of the world. As I say, nobody else has that. And so what we have felt is that this story is one that you need to be able to access in different ways. Well, one thing we did, we're asked by Logan Airport and have a great permanent exhibit on the 50 top innovations there. But we also think that there needs to be a walking tour where you can really experience, whether it's Kendall Square or whether it's the place where the telephone was invented near the City Hall Plaza, that you get to know where these innovations are. And there also are several new museums that are opening up towards the end of this summer, which are going to be telling those stories. So there are things to see that you may not know about and may really appreciate.
At his presentation, Bob will be telling you some fascinating stories from the book he and his co-author, Alan Earls, wrote. Boston Made, From Revolution to Robotics, Innovations That Changed the World. But first, I'd like to tell you what Rosabeth Moss Cantor, a Harvard Business School professor, had to say about Bob. Quote, Robert Krim is a longtime champion of the Boston area's history of innovation, finding remarkable examples of ingenuity and creativity going back centuries and continuing today. He shows how a culture of innovation can make a small place a beacon of hope for the world by developing the fresh ideas and useful discoveries that make a difference in every part of life. Close quote. An African slave teaches a Boston doctor how to protect his community from smallpox. A Massachusetts inventor walks through a radar test room and a bar of chocolate in his pocket melts. An entrepreneur named Goodyear accidentally throws a ball of gummy, sulfurized rubber onto a hot, pot-bellied stove and discovers it has hardened. Inoculation, the microwave, vulcanization. Why has Boston been the most innovative city in the nation over centuries? No one has tackled this question before Bob Krim in his book, Boston Made. But the only way to truly appreciate the breadth of innovation is to hear Bob tell the stories in person. In Bob's presentation and the subsequent podcast, you'll learn why only Boston, a mid-sized city in the northeast corner of the United States, on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, founded by Puritans, could have accomplished so many innovations. You'll hear stories about fascinating innovations that originated in Boston, and learn about a walk that you can take on your next visit to the country's most innovative city. Be sure to register at specificallyforseniors.com, and we'll let you know when the podcast drops.